So tell us about these stops in US territories and why has it drawn such a furious reaction from Beijing?
Well, Beijing doesn't like the president stopping off in Pacific Island countries which recognise Taiwan, and it's made the usual noises this time around, urging those countries to recognise that they're, quote, on the wrong side of history and trying to convince them to recognise Beijing instead. But it's even angrier about the president stopping off in the US because the US, unlike these Pacific Island countries, recognises Beijing and doesn't have a formal diplomatic relationship with Taiwan. So China sees the fact that the US is allowing President Lai to stop off not just in Guam, a US Pacific territory, but also in the state of Hawaii, which is several thousand kilometres away from any of these other countries, as a real abrogation of its commitments under the One China policy that it's agreed to. And it believes that the US is edging away from those commitments. Now, this is something that China does not want to see. It wants to stop the US opening up political space for Taiwan. It's worth remembering the US is by far Taiwan's most important security guarantor, even though they don't have formal relationships. It sells a huge amount of military equipment to Taiwan, which is critical for its national security, and it's also perhaps the most forceful country when it comes to pushing to give Taiwan a bit more international space. So China is responding furiously to this. It says that the US has to respond or has to treat the Taiwan issue with great care, and it's warning that if the US doesn't do that, then it could undermine the broader bilateral relationship between the two great powers.
And are we likely to see Beijing launch military exercises in response to this?
Look, it's really difficult to say, Gemma. It's certainly possible. Some officials in Taiwan have speculated that this is likely. Some analysts also say, given we've seen this steady escalation in tensions across the state with Beijing repeatedly launching mass-scale military exercises over recent years, it's entirely possible that it does that. If that does happen, obviously, that would be deeply destabilising. It would cause enormous amounts of concern across the region, as well as inside Taiwan itself.